Hi, so today I'm going to talk to you about making flashcards for your students and using them in different ways. The first step is to make sure that you tell your students to get all the materials needed. If you have younger students, I recommend using lined paper so that they don't struggle with writing the letters. If you just give them construction paper, sometimes they make it too small or too big. And so you're gonna need construction paper or lined paper, and you might need glue and scissors and markers or coloring pencils. So the second step is to make sure that your students have the vocabulary list or the spelling list or whatever type of word list you would like them to use. In this case, I've created a list based off on the Bachillerato week 2 from the first project, in which they have to talk about climate change. And so all the words that I've chosen are related to climate change. And for this, you might want to choose words from additional resources that you're going to provide or words from the modules. And so the third step is to have the students fold the construction paper in order for them to make it. So if you're gonna send a video with the instructions, or you can just send a PowerPoint like the one you're gonna see that I made, you wanna make sure that you model how to make the flashcard. So once you have cut all the 8 flashcards that you need to use, it's time to write our vocabulary words. So the first word on the list in this case was global warming. So we're gonna write global warming on the front. Okay, this is the front of the flashcard. And then in the back, we're gonna make a drawing to represent that word. And you can have your students choose if you would like them to draw the meaning of the word, or they can also write the definition of the word if their English allows them to understand the definition and also their age. In this case, I've drawn, and I think it's very important to notice that the word or the concept goes in front and the drawing in the back. And at the beginning, I mentioned that if your students are in primary, you might want to have them write their words on lined paper. So the same process, they would fold and cut the paper, and you can have them do it directly on this paper like I've done in this flashcard. And so these flashcards are for personal pronouns. Or you can have them just use the construction paper and simply use the lined paper to write the word. And again, the same thing, the drawing in the back. So you have 2 options for younger children. So the final step is to help your students use the flashcards to practice for different purposes. So for example, the first way you can do this is using the flashcards for the students to simply say the words, like pronounce the words and remember what it is. So you can either show the word and they have to say I, or you show them you and they have to say you. Okay, the other way to do this is to simply show the drawing and the students have to remember what it is, and you can say this is, and they have to say I. And then if you show them the other drawing, they have to say, oh, that's you. Okay, also, you don't have to do this necessarily one by one. For example, these 2 words, these 2 drawings allow you to compare the different personal pronouns. So you can say something like, if this is I, this is you. And you can do that with several personal pronouns. Another option is to use the words to help your students remember how to spell, right? So again, you can show the drawing, and you need to tell them, or the parent needs to tell them, please spell this concept for. The other way is to show them the word, or even if they're older, they can just look at the word on their own, and they have to try and use the word in a sentence. So they can look at the word deforestation, and they can also look at the drawing, right? They will have to look at both, and then they would think and say, oh, okay, so deforestation is one of the causes for climate change, for example. And you can have them simply practice orally, or you can ask them to write it down on a piece of paper and then take a picture and send it. If your students struggle with creating sentences, remember you can ask them to use sentence frames. So I'm gonna give you an example of how you can use sentence frames and flashcards. I have written my sentence frame here, but maybe what you can have parents do is write it on construction paper, and students in this case would have to choose the personal pronoun that they want to eat. So for example, I eat bananas, okay, or you eat bananas, and that way they can play with the different personal pronouns